it does look discouraging. And I can understand how one would say that is an unfixable car. But would you believe we've had worse? I'm going to show you what worse looks like. We had a car in here that was actually in not much better shape than this. Actually, it was in worse shape than this when it came to us. We ended up removing the entire front clip. We ended up removing the entire rear half of the car to resurrect it back to what it used to be. It becomes somewhat of a point of necessity versus availability and the options and where they fall in between. What am I talking about? These GTVs are getting harder and harder to find. They're getting incredibly expensive anymore. And sometimes we have to build with what we got. This car, as you know, is going to have a new life in Germany, and it is going to have a very special life because it's going to be converted into a GTA-M. And we're really happy for the new owner. We have some experience with the party involved in this because we built the Pan America winning race car for them from 2008. And now those parties are developing this for European racing. And we wish them the best of luck. Anyway, that's not what this is about. What this is about right now is sometimes you don't have the luxury or the wherewithal to buy a car that you know is well sorted out. You oftentimes are forced to buy cars that are either in serious disrepair or even worse. You pay an awful lot of money for a car that is less than worthy once it's looked upon closely and found that it's been cobbled together. The car I'm going to show you right now is a car that is went from the absolute brinks of destruction back to a very well-sorted car, and it's almost done. This car, we replaced a significant amount of metal on it, and I will show you what those photos look like and what it looked like when we got started. There was no rear end of this car. The front end was completely destroyed, but now it looks like a very proper Stepnos GTV. Do you remember this car? If you've been watching these videos for any amount of time, this is a car that when it was first here, it was on a frame rack over there, completely destroyed. It came to us screwed to 4x4 wooden blocks, and there was just simply nothing here. Now, it's got a fantastic motor in it. The car is completely well sorted, and it is just at the point where we're doing finishing touches, the interior is going in, and this is going to be ready for summer driving. This is what I'm talking about. Oftentimes, us as consumers can't see the big picture very well because we don't understand the process of what it takes to get to the end point. It's not necessarily always about money. It is, however, about having the wherewithal and the means to potentially get something to the end. This car has done that. It has not been the most expensive build in the world. The owner is very well mechanical minded and is able to do an awful lot of work on his own, and that helps a great deal when it comes to properly sorting out a car. And it shouldn't really necessarily be looked at in large, massive chunks. It should just be seen Focus on the here and now. Focus on what can be done today. Focus on the metal work. Focus on recreating the body, motor, interior, wiring, suspension. All those things can get sorted in time at once. And when you have that as a tool to work with, that ability to do it in pieces instead of having to do it all at once, it can certainly make it far more palatable. This car is a perfect example. It had an awful lot of damage. It had an awful lot of rust. But now it is not only a solid car, it is a rust-free car, and it is not full of Bondo and all these other things that make the car short-term pretty. This car is going to be well sorted for years to come because it was done right, it was done well, and the customer had the wherewithal of how to see it get done. Yeah, sure, we did the metal fabricating and structural work and we made it red and white, but essentially because the owner had a good thought process and knew exactly how he wanted this to look in the end, he got what he wanted. Among the things that make this car really well done is that right there. Traditionally, we always have our fuse boxes here, and all the relays are in the engine bay, and some are underneath the dash. That right there is a fantastic system. We've told you about this system before. They're fairly inexpensive, they're relatively available, they're everywhere, and everything's in there. It's all in there. Your high beam relays in there, your turn signal relays in there. Every relay that you need to make your Alfa completely functional is no longer needed throughout the car. It's all in there. Not to mention the fuses. The point is that is a great little unit. It doesn't cost a terrible amount of money, and more importantly, it really cleans up the engine bay and underneath the dash dramatically. One thing that drives me absolutely nuts is seeing a bunch of wires under the dash that aren't stowed away for whatever reason, whether it's because over the years the car's been serviced or because, stereos have been put in, the wiring is dangling, what have you. That little thing right there is fantastic because it completely cleans up the engine bay and it completely cleans up under the dash and really makes things so much smoother looking and functional and reliable. You got to really consider one of those. Granted, if you're going for originality, that's not the move. But if you want something to be easy maintained, easy to service, that's it. You've heard me say it before. Camtail spiders are on the rise, and it is at a fantastic rate. Not necessarily because people are now spending money on them and get them sorted out well, but because people are starting to understand it is a really good car. This car came to us, it was a really bland white. Originally the car was this color, and at some point in time it was painted white. It had damage in the sills and the rockers and lots of rust there, and the spare tire tub and things like that were less than admirable. They need to be sorted out, repaired, and we've done that. And then the car was painted silver, which was absolutely the right move. And then the owner did one little simple thing that kind of completely changes the personality of the car. He brought us some Panasports, but because the car was silver, he didn't want the Panasports to be the same color as the car. So we painted the Panasports a more of a gunmetal color. Now it has a little bit of contrast. But the mere simple change of just putting the Panasports on a fresh silver paint job has really changed the personality of this car. It's those simple little things that make the greater picture much better. And this is exactly what he's done. It just goes to show you, you can have a car that is in fairly dilapidated state. It doesn't take a whole lot of work to really make it look like something special. I like it. And normally, we don't even see Camtail spiders in here, but over the last year or two, we've had dozens of them come in for either refresh work like this or complete restoration. I think it's a pretty neat idea to start seeing them come in. And I like the idea that people are taking the older models, like this one, this is a 78 model, I believe, and they're putting all the early 70 model stuff on them, so they still have that elegance to them. This particular car has the early 70s stainless steel bumpers on it, and simple little things like that, which have really softened the lines of it, made it far less DOT industrious looking. For those of you who don't know what DOT is, that's Department of Transportation here in the States. And the Department of Transportation really knows how to make a car go ugly. They always want the big, massive bumpers, and they want the cars at very high heights and things, and it just completely takes away from what the designer's intentions were. This car has achieved its simple elegance once again, and it will be leaving soon, and we're happy for the owner, because it looks great, and he loves it.